Namaskar and welcome to my channel. If you are looking for some tips and guidance to make your life extraordinary, then you are at the right place. I am Coach Amrita Nilesh. I teach emotional wellness, mindset, laws of attraction, and absolutely everything that you need to make your life extraordinary. So, without further ado, let's get started. But before we jump into the video, let me ask you a small question. Have you subscribed to my channel? If not, then please take a moment and hit that red button over there. Your subscription means a lot to me. And I promise you, on this channel, you will find all the videos which will be beneficial for you. So thank you so much if you have already subscribed. If you haven't, this is your moment. Recently, I had posted a video which was a very quick, basic, easy guide to journaling for beginners. I thought I should follow it up with another video where I can teach you the step-by-step process to journaling. In this video, I'm going to share with you 16 tips which can totally change the way you journal even if you're not a beginner. Now, if you are a beginner and you just want to start journaling, what's the first thing that you're going to need? A journal, right? So what is the kind of journal that you should pick for yourself? My first advice to you would be not to go for something very expensive. Now, journals can be of different price ranges. They come in all kinds of shapes and sizes and materials. I would recommend that you pick something which is not too exorbitantly expensive. At the same time, it's not very cheap because usually the cheap ones are very thin with poor quality of paper which can just tear apart and just fly away into the wind. My suggestion would be to pick a journal which is sturdy enough to stand the test of time. At the same time, it's not too expensive. So see, I have, for example, I have these journals. Now this one is a hardbound one, okay? And this is pretty much, a big kind of a thing, and it's little expensive. This is from a brand called Nightingale products. So this is one. Again, this one I picked up from Calcutta. This is from Starbucks, and this is a second copy of my journal actually. I have two of these. One is over. I think this is the one which is over. Yes, this is the one which is over. I'm a big Satyajit Ray fan, so I picked this up from Calcutta. It's from Starbucks. This one is just for 225 bucks. But this one I am particularly very fond of because the paper quality is very nice. So I particularly like this one very much. Again, you have a cheap, I have the cheaper ones, like this one I had picked up from Amazon, I think. This one I had picked up from Amazon. This has blank pages. You will have a variety of them, but don't straight away jump into the very expensive ones, which are like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 rupees. With that hardbound faux leather kind of stuff. You really don't need that. And if you are a beginner, let me assure you, there is 100% chance that after 4-5 days you will give up. You will take time to pick up that momentum. So don't waste your money on something very expensive. At the same time, don't pick up something very flimsy. Be practical, be a little more careful when you spend your money on the journal. Choose carefully. Also, when you're choosing a journal, there will be different types available. So there will be the ruled ones, there would be the blank ones like this. Then you can have these dotted ones. If you can see, it's already shown over here. I don't know if the camera is capturing. So you have the dotted ones. Then you have the checkered ones. This one is the checkered ones. There are all kinds again. Okay. So if you are a beginner, and I understand that a lot of people they don't write in a straight line. So if you are a beginner, go for a ruled one, okay? Thereafter, you can choose whatever you want to choose. For me, I would say I like the blank ones because it gives me a lot of creative freedom. I can draw whatever I like. I can, make sketches. I can doodle on it. So I like the blank ones, but you can take your pick. Choose the one which will help you write, which will not make your diary look flimsy and clumsy. Choose the right one for yourself. Once you have got your journal, what is the next thing that you're going to need? Writing materials, yes, of course. You will need your pens and you will need some, a ruler. Otherwise also you have different kinds of stuff that you can pick and choose from. These are the kinds of color pens, and these are also a 24 shade pen which I use for my journals. And of course at any given point of time you will find this particular thing on my table. It has my stack of pens. I have these calligraphy pens which I use. These are basically, I'm not into calligraphy much, but these are pens which I use maybe sometimes to write the headings or stuff like that. Okay, this is something I made. Okay, this is a recycled stuff. If you can see, it's a Sprite bottle. It's pretty old. I need to make a new one, but I don't drink Sprite, so I don't know where I'm going to get one bottle and make it from. Anyway. So this is something you will always find on my table. There's a whole collection of pens over here, if you can see. I lost a bunch of pens while shifting, and they were all fountain pens, and I'm very upset about that. But anyway, you can choose whatever writing material you want. You can have pens, you can have color pens, you can have pens, color pencils, sketch pens, calligraphy pens, white correctors, highlighters, markers, washi tapes, and post-it stamps, whatever. So there are a lot of stationeries that you can collect and you can use to decorate your diary, to make it fun, to make your journal interesting. Let me tell you one thing. The more interesting it is, the more likely it is that you will continue your habit of journaling. So to be a regular in journaling, invest in good quality of writing materials and allow yourself to explore. Once you've got your journal and once you've got your writing supplies, what do? You start writing. But of course, you open your journal, you come to the first page, and blank. You don't know what to write. It happens with all of us. I'm telling you, it has happened with me, and I'm sure if you have journaled before, this has happened with you also. You can resonate with this. So here is my tip for the first page. Now, usually we are always having that urge to make the first page look beautiful, perfect in whatever way. Sometimes that urge is so strong, we don't move ahead. Here are the few options you can choose from. Number one, you can write a good quotation which you can relate to in a huge way, deeply you can relate to. You can write that quotation. Or you can just put a picture over there. If you find a good picture in some magazine or wherever, which you can really associate yourself with, put that picture on the first page. Or else maybe you can write what number of journal that is. For example, as I showed you, this one is my second copy. No, this is the first. I have another one, so that's going to be the second copy. So you can write which number of journal that is, or you can write your motto over there as to what is the principle that you follow in life. Okay, the more you read about your motto, the less likely it is that you will drift away from it. So definitely you can put that on the first page. And last of all, I would say your goal. You can always write your goal, bold, bright letters, and you can put your goal on the first page. So every time you open your diary, there it is, right in front of your eyes. It's a good way of feeding that information to your brain that this is what I have a mission to pursue. This is the dream that I must fulfill for myself. So your goal is definitely something which you can put on your first page. After you're done with page 1, it's time to move to page 2 and 3. Now here you will have space for your index and content. These are very important pages of the journal, but most people absolutely avoid it. The content is basically the page where you can make a list of the entries from a later date. The index, on the other hand, is for the symbols and other kinds of notes that you may use for your journal entries. The symbols which I commonly use are the square, circle, the triangle, a dot for notes, something for the due date, I mark a star for something important, or maybe a reminder, or maybe a certain expense that I will incur in the coming time. When a task is completed, it is shaded, or maybe it is migrated. If a task is cancelled, you can simply cross it. Or the task is started but not yet complete, you can use another symbol. These are just my ways of doing it. You can design any symbol of your convenience. There's no rule for this. But trust me, once you start using these symbols to make your entries, journaling would not just be fun, it would also be very, very convenient to remember your task and your to-do list. After you're done with these 3 pages, it's time to actually start entering your records in your journal. So when you start journaling, the 3 things that you absolutely must write are the date, the time, and the place. I know a lot of people don't write the place, but I personally prefer it because it gives you some context as to where you were. Like, were you at work, or were you in school or college, or were you at home, were you at a friend's place? So it gives some context to that particular day's entry. And the 2 other things which I do, but it's not mandatory that you have to do, I also write the weather, but I don't write it like the temperature or something like that. I draw it in a graphical way. So this is just a way to make your journal entry a little more fun. The 5th thing which you can write, again, it's optional, but if you look back and go back to an entry, it always gives you some context to write it. That's your mood. Whether you were happy at that moment, whether you were anxious, whether you were just thrilled about something, or whether you were excited, whether you were sad. So your mood is something also that you can write. Optional, not mandatory, no rules to be applied. So take your pick, but yes, date, time, and place must. Tip number 6, your handwriting. Once you start journaling, it's very, very common to feel obsessed about the handwriting. Everyone wants their journal to look very, very picture perfect. So they want to have the best handwriting that they're putting into it. But trust me, your handwriting is not going to be constant all the time. In fact, most of the times we don't realize this, but our handwritings tend to differ at different times depending upon the mood. If we are angry and we are writing very fast, we are like literally scribbling. On other times when maybe we are calm and composed, and that's when the handwriting is much more beautiful and smooth. So don't fuss over it. This is nothing very important. Just make sure that you are journaling regularly. Even if the handwriting is not good, it's okay. You're going to read it yourself. No one else is going to look at it. So don't fuss over it. Tip number 7. If you make a mistake, in spite of all your efforts to make your handwriting perfect and writing perfectly, if you make a mistake, don't rip off your page and shove it into the dustbin. It's okay. Just use a whitener, a corrector, or something like that. But accept mistakes to be a part and parcel of this whole exercise. See, the end of the day, you will be reading your journal, and if there is a mistake, that's your authentic expression. There was a mistake, there was an error, and you just took care of it. And of course, you have these whiteners, you have these washi tapes, which you can use to cover up some error, and still your journal looks beautiful. So don't fuss over something which can be easily fixed. Accept the mistake, cover it up if it can be fixed. If it cannot be fixed, and if it's still looking ugly by your standards, let it be. Just move on. You will make the other pages look beautiful. Tip number 8. Don't write long paragraphs, because you will not enjoy writing them, and you will never ever enjoy reading them when you go back to your old journal entries. In fact, your sentences do not have to be complete expressions. You can write in bits and pieces. So many times I do that. All you have to do is just pour your heart out. Even if it is not in complete sentences, you will still understand. So don't fuss over the expression to be in detail. If you want to write in a little more detail, that's good. But there are times a lot of people, they just don't sit in journal because they say, I don't have the time. Come on, you don't have to write a whole essay about your thoughts. Just make sure that you make your entries short and simple and crisp so that you love writing them and you enjoy reading them. Tip number 9 for people who feel that they don't have a lot of time to journal and they're in fact beginning to get into this habit, try bullet journaling. Let me tell you guys, I was not aware of bullet journaling till my daughter introduced me to the concept, and it just changed the way I started journaling. It made things so much more simpler and enjoyable. In your bullet journal, you can write about your day-to-day to-do list. You can write about your goals. You can write about your daily hits and misses. So overall, it becomes a very, very interesting activity, and that makes your journaling exercise so much more enjoyable. So if you are a beginner, definitely go ahead for bullet journaling first instead of writing paragraphs. That's a complete no-no. Tip number 10. Now, this is something which will sound funny, but hear me out. You don't have to write regularly, but be regular with your journaling. I know it's not making sense, but I'll explain it to you. So, if you are a beginner, it's highly likely that you will not feel like journaling every day. So, don't beat yourself down if you're not doing it. Fix up a few days of the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to journal no matter what. So that brings in some regularity. But don't just leave it like that, okay, today I journaled, tomorrow I did. And then again, after 2 months, you wake up and say, oh, I have not been journaling. No, that's not the way it happens. So maintain some regularity, even if you're not making your journal entries every day. Now it's making sense, but try and build up the habit slowly and steadily. Remember, slow and steady progress is better than a perfect start. Sometimes people are waiting for the perfect time that they will have the perfect journal, the perfect looking cover, the perfect pen, the perfect stationery, so that they will be starting with a perfect journal. It doesn't happen that way. So make sure that you are writing regularly, even if you're not writing every day. Be consistent, that's all. Tip number 11. And this is where it comes to putting your heart out on the paper, allowing your thoughts to flow, and being absolutely honest. Yes, tip number 11 is be honest with whatever you are writing. Journaling is all about emptying your thoughts and pouring it out all on paper. So don't hold back thinking who's going to see it, who's going to read it, you're going to be judged. Forget about that. Just be honest, whether you're feeling angry or happy or sad or excited or anxious, whatever be your feeling, whatever be your thoughts, be 100% honest about it. Write whatever you are feeling, even if it requires to be brutal about certain things, be it your hatred for somebody, because these are emotions which we don't usually express. So be 100% authentic, be honest, and pour your heart out. Tip number 12, particularly for the beginners. Now, there may be a lot of times when you will sit with your journal and you will go just blank. You will not know what exactly to write. Now, in such cases, you can look up for writing prompts. Just Google writing prompts for journals and you will get so many ideas. Checking up writing prompts could be a great idea to allow your creative juices to flow. If you are already habituated with journaling, then this may not be a big problem for you. In that case, I would recommend what I had suggested in my previous video. Ask yourself the right questions and just pour your heart out. Do not block, do not try to influence and try to think about what other people might feel, what you should be writing. No, it's not about what you should be feeling. It's about what you are actually feeling. So allow the free flow of writing if you can. Else, you can always look up for writing prompts. This is a very, very good way to get your habit in place. Once you are habituated with this, trust me, you will not need any journaling prompt whatsoever. Tip number 13. Now, whether you are a beginner or whether you are an old person journaling for years, writer's block is common. It can happen with anybody. It has happened with me. I'm sure if you have ever sat down with a paper to write anything, it has happened with you as well. If you want to pursue with your journaling habit and yet encounter with a writer's block, the best way to combat that is just put out a gratitude list. Just take the pen and paper and write down whatever you think you are absolutely thankful about. Trust me, it opens up your creative flow like anything. This is a sure shot way to combat writer's block. Try it and let me know. If you have been encountering this kind of a problem, try this out and leave your comment below. I want to know how you have combated your writer's block. Tip number 14, and this is for the beginners particularly, but if you are someone who is trying to develop a new way of journaling, then this is applicable to you as well. Now, if you Google or if you look up on Pinterest, there are zillions of ideas that you can get online for journaling and for decorating your journal, etc. But at the end of the day, the whole point is to develop your own style. So it's okay to take inspiration from somewhere, to take ideas from somewhere, but at the end of the day, develop your own style. Do what you can do consistently, incorporate what you can imbibe easily. Copy if you have to, but then just make it fun and easy for you. It should not be like you absolutely desperately want to incorporate a design and then things become messy for you. And too many ideas, it might make your journal look very clumsy. So develop your own style. See what works for you, what you can incorporate, what you don't need. Try it out, but then develop your own style. Tip number 15, and this is one of the most important thing that I want to mention to each and every one of you who wants to journal or who is already into the habit of journaling. Never ever sit down and make journaling a activity that you don't like. Okay, every time you sit down with your journal, make sure that you actually want to do it. Don't make it like a chore. So relax, have fun with journaling. It's not something that should be like a task that somebody has given you and somebody is holding you at gunpoint and so you have to do it. Don't make journaling a stressful activity. Relax, have fun, enjoy journaling, write whatever you want, explore, be creative. It's all about having fun while enjoying something which is very, very productive and which is going to be helpful for you. Last but not the least, tip number 16, the final one. Keep your journal private. Ta-da! Yes, your journal is absolutely your private affair. Do not share it with anyone. It doesn't matter how close the person is. It doesn't matter how friendly he or she is. Your journal is absolutely your private thing. There are some apps which people use for journaling, and I believe there are these options where you can share a post on your social media platforms. But I personally feel that journaling should be all about your own understanding of yourself. It's about how you look at life, your goals, your aspirations, your hits and misses, whatever you say. So make it very, very private. Keep it private. Don't let anybody interfere in that, influence that, view that. It's your own space. It's like the black box of your head which you have put out. So keep it guarded with all your life, because that's what is very, very critical to protect your privacy. So that was your step-by-step guide to journaling. If you are still watching this video and if you have enjoyed this video, if you have liked the tips, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It would mean a world to me. And if you have still not subscribed to my channel, then please, please, please do that. Hit the red button over there and hit the notifications bell as well so that you are notified when I post a video. Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a regular affair now. I'm going to post very, very regularly. So keep in touch. Be with me. Thank you. Namaskar.